recording now. Okay, guys, so we're going to continue now with our class number 3, but this time is the second part, so it's the second class of the week, number 3 in our intermediate 2 level. Ready? The last class, we were talking about sleeping habits, so we were talking about how many hours do you sleep, what do you do before sleeping, what do you do after sleeping, and in general terms, we talk about the routine of sleeping, and we learn other different ways to connect my ideas, right? So we learn how can we connect ideas using the time adverbs, as soon as, once, before, after, and reducing the clause when it's necessary with the adverbs after, before, and why, right? The last time what we have was, or where we stayed was with these connectors, right? We talk about even if, considering that, and some of them, right? Right now, I would like you to help me to read some sentences that we have here, right? So, guys, over here, I would like, we have three, 1, 2, and 3. And let's say here we have A, B, and C. Could you please help me to join the sentences, which is the second part, which is like corresponding to the first one? So the first one is now that I work online. The second one is like considering that I work online and I don't have to wake up so early. Match these sentences with one of the second column. How would you match these sentences? Number one, now that I work online, sorry, here there is a mistake. It's now that I work, sorry, now that I work. Now that I work online, what? What is the second part corresponding?
A.
A, this one? Read it, Santi, read it.
And now that I work online, I don't have to use public transport.
Yeah, could be. Now that I work online, I don't have to use public transport. Good, perfect. That's all right. Good. Number two, considering that I work online.
B, teacher.
Read it, Peter. Read it.
Considering that I work online, I should save more money.
Exactly, good. Well, of course, so they were in front, just you didn't need to do anything. They were just in front. And Sarita, read the last one, my dear.
I don't have to wake up so early now that I work online.
Exactly, good. What we can see here are two different parts of one idea. Different parts that are connected with one connector here, which is in the beginning, now that, and a comma. In the second one, the same, considering that and a comma, or in the third one, now that in the middle, right? Remember that when we have the connectors, as I said before, we can have the connector at the beginning, the sentence number 1, comma, and the sentence number 2, or the other option, this is the option number 1, the option number 2, it's using sentence number 1, the connector, and the sentence number 2, right? Which is the option that we have here. Ready? Now, the difference, the difference between the sentence is that the connector is different. For example, in the first two, we have now that, and then we have considering that. What was the meaning of now that? You told me the last time, but I forgot it. What is the meaning of now that?
Ahora qué?
Ahora qué? And considering that?
Considerando que.
Exactly. So in this case, what we're going to have are connectors, which they link two ideas, but depending on the importance or the influence from one idea on the other. Ready? Let's time we talk about like the things that don't affect your sleep. And Sarah said, like, teacher, I don't care if there is noise or not. It's not important for me. Which in this case we use, we use even if, which is incluso si. So let's talk about the connectors that we have here, like a short summary, so you can understand better how can we use these connectors, right? Even if it's going to connect one idea or it's going to introduce one idea that is irrelevant for the first idea, it is not important. So when I say even if, which is inclusivity, it's because this sentence or the sentence that is after, it's not important for the first result. Yeah, independently of the second sentence, the first result is going to be true, right? For example, I feel hungry. I feel hungry even if I'm worried or not. Some people, when they feel worried, they don't sleep, they don't eat. But I feel hungry even if I am worried or not. So it doesn't matter. Irrelevant if I am worried or sad. I feel hungry all the time, right? So that's something irrelevant. Ready? Now, the second one is considering that. Considering that is actually the opposite, no? So when we say considering that, it's like, hey, this is something that we have to take into account for the first result. For example, considering that I work online, I should save more. Yes, or I should save more considering that I work online. So in that case, we're saying like taking into account this result or the second sentence, the first sentence is going to be more important or less important. Although taking into account that the first idea should be true, right? Number three, now that it's similar to considering that, but when we introduce now, it's expressing a change. So I'm saying like before was different, but now that this thing or this idea is true, then the first idea is also true. For example, I don't have to wake up so early now that I work online. Before, I used to wake up early because I worked like face to face. But now that I work online, I don't have to wake up so early. It's similar to considering that, but with the exception that we introduce a change. That before something was different and now it's changed, right? That's the connector number three. The connector number four, which is whether or not it's going to be the same as even if, something which is irrelevant. It doesn't matter, right? So for example, I drink coffee. I drink coffee, whether or not I'm sleepy. So I don't drink coffee because I'm sleepy. I drink it whether or not I'm sleepy. I drink it all the time, whether or not I'm sleepy, right? So in that case, irrelevant, independently if I am sleepy or not, I drink coffee, right? It's a synonym of even if, right? Which means like incluso si sí or si no, it doesn't matter, right? Then we have the connector as long as. Anybody knows what is the meaning of as long as? Do you remember? Any ideas? What is the meaning of as long as?
Mientras.
No, that is as far as. This one is different. As long as. Any ideas? No. Well, as long as it means siempre y cuando, right? So, and it means, or what I'm going to do with as long as, it's introducing something like one idea which is necessary for the first idea to be true, right? So when I say, for example, I drink coffee as long as I'm sleepy. It's the opposite of the previous one, no? So when I say whether or not, it's this is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if I'm sleepy or not, I drink coffee. Here in the second one, when I say as long as, I'm saying like, okay, it is necessary that I am sleepy to drink coffee. If not, I don't drink coffee, right? So I drink coffee as long as I am sleepy, ready? Which actually is very similar to when I say only if. Bueno, here we have two options of only if. It's like it is necessary that second situation for the first one to be true, right? As long as, okay? Yes, better, clear? What is the meaning of as long as?
Yes, teacher, clear.
Good, okay, perfect, that's it. Well, good. The next one is unless, which you told me yesterday, it means unless, right? So it means unless. It means a menos que. In that case, we're saying that the first idea is true. Ready? The first idea is true, except in this situation, right? It's a synonym of except. So when I say, for example, one more time, I drink coffee drink coffee unless it's after 6 p.m. Right? So unless it's after 6 p.m. If it's after 5 p.m., this sentence is not real. On all the other cases, then this sentence is real. I drink coffee unless, except if it is after 6 p.m. Right? Good, easy. The next connector is just in case, which you told me like por si acaso or en caso que. So it's talking about that I am doing this, like this situation, it's real, only for preparation of the second idea, right? For example, let's say I don't know, I wake up early. I wake up early just in case, or solamente in case, there is too much traffic. You know, like a preparation for something negative, right? There is too much traffic. So I do it only if there, like in the case that there is a problem, which is there is much traffic. So this just in case is going to introduce a negative situation or condition, which can affect another thing. So I do this thing in preparation for that negative situation or that negative condition, right? And the last one, only if it's going to be or it's going to mean that this is the only situation, in which the first idea is real, right? For example, I drink coffee. Let's go back to the coffee. I drink coffee, right? I drink coffee only if I'm dozing off. Anybody knows what is the meaning of doze off? In this case, in continuous dozing off. What's the meaning of doze off?
Como dormirse, como adormecerse.
Exactly, like when you start like dozing off, like, oh my God, yes. So, but it's the only situation in which I drink coffee. If not, then it's not necessary to drink coffee. Bueno, for me, not like in this case. So the connector can connect two exactly equal sentences, but the connector is so important that it can change the complete context of the idea. Ready? So we have even if, considering that, now that, whether or not, as long as, unless, just in case, and only if. Any questions about any of these connectors, or are they completely clear?
Teacher, the only 3 points if is equal than as long as.
Sorry. Yes, also the same. The thing is that in that case, what I do is that I can change or I can introduce sometimes, right? Yes, the sentence here with the if afterwards, right? Or sometimes what I do, it's usually what I do is using only if together, but sometimes they separate it, ready? So I drink coffee only if I am dozing off, but there are other situations in which this if can be at the end, right? So, well, or not at the end, they can separate it and they can include some sentences here. In this moment, I cannot think in an example, but you can find it sometimes together, well, usually together, or sometimes split by another thing, but it's like the same, no? It's just that they sometimes move the particle if, but it's basically the same something, okay?
Okay, action not usual.
Depending on the context, but it's more usual to find it all together. This is the most common one to find it all together, okay?
Okay.
Ready? Okay, so any other question, difficulties about these connectors, problems, all of them clear?
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, Kevin.
You write like as long as, unless, just in case, only if. That one is it has to have conditions or not.
Yeah, basically what we have, oh, well, this connector, it's a replacement of if, you know? If it's, it's the connector of the conditionals, but sometimes it's not so specific. So what we can do is replace an if with all of these expressions, no? Considering that, now that, because it's influence. So this condition or the condition that is after, it's going to affect the consequence that is before. But bueno, can be different because I can use the conector at the beginning, como vimos antes, puedo usar el conector al principio y la consecuencia al final. Pero well, yes, the idea is that we can use all of these expressions to replace if. Okay? So it's also condition, consequence, condition, consequence. Okay, Sarita? Yes? Sarita, are you there?
Yes, teacher, is clear.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks a lot. Bueno, so if everything is clear over here, we're going to find some connections here, right? In this case, we're going to have some sentences connected with, well, the connectors that we just saw, right? So I would like you to please find the one that you prefer and complete it, ready? Complete it with one information on your own. Doesn't matter if it's real or invented, it's not a problem. So just try to complement the idea that you choose, ready? For example, I only fall asleep as long as I'm very tired. If I am not very tired, I cannot fall asleep. So before going to bed, I always try to do things, work or play video games a lot or do something that makes me tired. So because I only fall asleep as long as I am very tired, right? So that's my compliment. Choose another one that you look for and complement it, okay, with your information.
Teacher, I have one. The first, the yellow. I never sleep less than 5 hours, even if I had a lot of work.
Exactly, very good. So I never sleep less than 5 hours, even if I have a lot of work. So it's not important. Maybe he can have a ton of work, but he always sleeps more than 5 hours. Very good. Thank you, Santi. That's it. What else?
I chat with my friends even if I'm working.
Very good. So I chat with my friends even if I'm working. So independently of that, independent if I'm working or not, I chat with my friends. Very good, Sarita. Good. Maho.
Even if I don't have enough time, I always make my bed before going out.
Me too. It's the same. I cannot go out without the bed making because it looks very disorganized. So even if I don't have enough time, it doesn't matter. I always make my bed before going out. Perfect. That's it. Okay, good. And Pedro, my friend.
I don't like driving considering that this city has a lot of traffic jams.
Sure, exactly. So I don't like driving considering that this city has a lot of traffic jams. Good, exactly. So as you can see, the connector here, well, all of you use even if, but there are others, yes, but the connector is so important because it can change completely the context of the idea, right? The intention that I have can be completely changed by using one or the other connector, ready? Bueno, my dear people, so far in the week number 2 and in the two classes of the week number 3, we have seen different ways of connecting ideas. Connectors of like condition, which are these 7, I think, yes, like 8 connectors, or connectors of time, like we saw the last class, or connectors of subject, which was with the relative pronouns, or connectors of contrast, like that. There is another one more way to do it, yes, and it's by using or by organizing the subject and the complement on one way or the other. Ready? We know that there are always different ways to do the things to express the same idea, yes, like what we call paraphrasing. Do you know what is the meaning of paraphrasing? Paraphrasing. What is the meaning of that? Any ideas? No?
It sounds like parafraseando, but I don't know.
And what is that in Spanish? No?
Like saying in another way, like it's not the exact way. I don't I don't know how to explain.
Okay, but yeah, very close. Yes, exactly. So it's saying in another way the same idea, right? So saying like changing the words or changing the structure, but expressing the same, right? That's paraphrasing. It's something important because, well, when we are learning to speak another second language, well, paraphrasing is very important because in the first part of the learning process, what you do is learning one way to say it, right? So learning the present simple, learning the simple past, blah, 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 learning one way. In this point, it's important to start paraphrasing because you can do it because you have the tools, you have the skills to do it in different ways. You can say one thing with modal verbs or with expressions with don't okay. So you have the skills and the abilities to do that. Today, we're going to learn also how can we connect ideas by paraphrasing the idea. Ready? So in this case, we're going to confront two different ways to do it. The way which is the gerund. Right, let me change the color, the gerund, right? Which, you know, it's a verb in ing, or the way that we call the infinitive, which, you know, it's going to be two and one verb in the basic form, right? We can do the same thing. We can express the same idea talking about or using these two structures, right? Remember that the gerund is a verb which is nominalized, so it's working as a noun. So it can be at the beginning or it can be at the end too, right? So here we have the first structure, which is the verb ing, that's the gerund, then the verb, and then giving my opinion about it, right? Or giving a compliment, which usually it's my opinion about that action. For example, learning English. Learning English should be fun. Well, ideally, right? Should be fun. Okay, that's my idea. That's my expression. But this same expression can be said or can be expressed in another different way. How? Inverting the organization of the sentence, right? So starting with the connected with the oh my God, with the subject it, with the pronoun it, ready? And then the same thing and using that subject at the end, right? So it's going to be like, it should be fun. It should be fun, okay, to learn English. Yeah. In that case, what I can do is like inverting the structure of the sentence, yeah, or using the gerund or using the infinitive. I can connect the same idea or I can like link the different parts of the idea, right? Usually we can use this part or the gerund way to talk about more in more casual context. Yes, it's more common when you read in social media, in I don't know, in casual conversations, in WhatsApp messages, that the people use a lot of gerunds, right? Because it's shorter, it's simpler, right? But when we want to be a little bit more formal, or when I want to be with like speak a little bit more completely, then I try to use always the infinitive form because it's more complete. It implies more effort. Therefore, it's a little bit more formal, more elegant, right? For example, in Colombia, arriving late, wait, sorry, arriving late is permitted. I mean, it's not well seen, it's not normal, but it's permitted. Sometimes the people say like, okay, I call the people at 3, so they arrive at 4. It's common, no, it's normal. How can you paraphrase this sentence and express it in a more formal way?
It is permitted to arrive late
Where?
in Colombia.
Yeah, that's it. So it is permitted, always starting with it. Why? Because that it is referring to the action that I'm talking about. As it is an action, of course, I use it, right? So it is permitted. It is permitted to arrive late. in Colombia, right? It's so simple, yeah? Same ideas, just different structures, but the same ideas, right? In this case, we can also describe it, well, as I told you before, it's usually used for talking about opinions, right? About actions. So, for example, if we want to describe a little bit about communication, yeah, I would say like, guys, how do you usually call your friends in Colombia? Well, in Colombia, how do the people usually call their friends? What is the most common word for calling friends here in Colombia? No, no idea. If it's about work, tell me. Teacher, I call my friends tal. I don't know. No, no idea.
Teacher, but it's a word in Spanish.
Yeah, of course, it's a word in Spanish because it's
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I call my friends parceros.
Exactly. I think that is the most common word for calling the people, the friends here in Colombia. Of course, we have others like baby, like gorda, like even some bad words like marica, like no sé qué, like that. But the most common one, it's going to be parce, parcero, parcera. That's it, right? So in that case, I would say that, wait, no, I'm gonna use it like more formally, and then you transform into something more casual. I would say that it is normal or it is customary. Let's call customary. What is the meaning of customary?
Costumbre.
Yeah, like como común, acostumbrado, típico, no? Just like it is customary to call your friends parcero. O bueno, parcera, parce, let's call it, right? So in quotations because it's in Spanish, no? So it is customary to call your friends parce in Colombia. Very good, yeah? If I would like to say that more casually, in a more fresh way, how would you do that? How would you do that? Tell me. If I want to be more casual, more fresh.
Call your friends parce
Uh-huh.
is customary.
Call your friends parce is customary. Wait, sorry, customary. Is it good? Completely good? Would you change something? Would you correct something?
Is ing calling.
Excellent. When I start with, as it is a gerund, so it will be in ing. Same idea, different words. Calling your friends parce is customary in Colombia, right? Bueno, but to be honest, this is not customary for everyone because my mother doesn't call any of her friends parce, but the people from certain age or different groups of people or a specific group of people call parce their friends, right? Which group of people? Maybe the kids, maybe the adults, maybe the people from the 90s.
Millennials.
Yeah, good. I would say I would say that, no. So it's very common or it's customary, and then I can express specifically for whom, right? So how can I do that? Expressing with the preposition for and then the group, right? After the after the opinion, sorry, after the adjective, yes, I can include it using for and the group of people. It is customary for millennials to call their friends pares. Ready? For millennials, or calling parce is customary for millennials, the same thing, right? So the same idea, one more time, different ways, but it's the same idea. ¿No? Guys, hasta ahí como good questions with this part, with this change. Easy, right? Yes. Questions, problems?
It's okay, teacher.
Thank you for answering things. Okay, good, ready. So let's see here, we have some like sentences which I would like you to complete, right? Here we have just some situations, right? I would like you to give me your opinion about it. It's in a specific way, but you can do it with the specific way that is here, or you can change it if you want, right? For example, here already have calling names to your friends is customary. Yeah, you already told me, yes, it's normal. Calling names to your friends is customary. Or it is customary to call names to your friends. Como quieren hacerlo, it's all right. Here we have other expressions, other sentences to debate respectfully, to answer fast the text messages, o sea, como responder rápido, chatting during dinner with family, to date two people at the same time, and listen carefully to the others, right? The sentence here are in a specific way, so you can complete the sentence using the same way that is here or using the other one, right? Choose one of the situations and complement the idea, okay?
Me
Hmm?
is disrespectful dating two people at the same time.
Okay, so if you use the ing, would be better at the beginning. Well, actually, it could be also at the end, but well, you have the two options. So it is disrespectful to date two people at the same time, or dating two people at the same time. Is disrespectful without the it. No, wonderful. That's it. Yes, it's very disrespectful, right? Okay, very good. Thank you, Maho. Anything else? Anybody else?
Teacher me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sharing during dinner is tradition. An informal case, it is tradition, chat during dinner.
Okay, very good. Well, you mean chatting like chatting verbally, orally, right?
Right.
Okay, here the expression of chatting, it was intended to mean like chatting on your phone. But okay, I mean in that case it's correct. Chatting during dinner is customary or is tradition orally, right? What about if it's chatting on the phone? Is that also traditional?
And no, talk to other is not chatting. What is the alternative?
No, yes, chatting is also. I mean, there are the two connotations. You take it in one. I was thinking on the other one, but both are correct. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, no problem. Okay. Bueno, guys, another one to answer fast text messages, listening carefully to others, debate respectfully.
Answering fast text message could be no. You may have an incorrect question answer, maybe or not.
Okay, got it. Yes, I got it. So in that case, you would say like answering fast the text messages can cause or can produce a incorrect answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. The same, or it can produce an incorrect answer to answer fast the text messages. Both answers correct. Excellent, Darita. Listo. And my friend Pedro, what about?
To debate respectfully, it is a good way to confront our ideas.
Perfect, that's it. To debate respectfully, or better, debating respectfully because it's at the beginning, Debating respectfully is a good way to confront our ideas, or it is a good way, well, sorry, it is a good way to confront our ideas to debate respectfully, right? So both options are all right. Ready? Sorry, so always remember that we have two different ways. Well, usually when we have the sentence at the action at the beginning, it's in gerund, no? So doing this, calling the people, chatting during dinner, listening, And when we want to include it at the end, there we can include it with infinitive. There in that case, it's necessary the it at the beginning, no? So it is a good idea to answer fast the text messages, or it is disrespectful today to people at the same time, or it is necessary to debate respectfully with others, no? So when we have the pronoun at the beginning, it, then it's because at the end, are gonna go with a infinitive, or if we want to do it with the gerund, there it's better to do it at the beginning as a subject. Ready? So that will be the best idea. Questions over here, problems so far over here? No, all good, all fine so far. Okay, good, very good. No problem over here. Yes. I'm going to ask you a question. Then I would like you to think on your own cases, on your own situations, because every party is different, and then answer according to your situation, right? So I would like to know what is the costume? What is the costume at home during Christmas? Sorry, Christmas celebrations. You know, in the novenas, in the Candles Day, in all of that. What is the custom at home during Christmas celebrations? Everybody's going to have something different, so I would like to know some of you. Try to accommodate the ideas doing, oh, like, you know, using the structures that we just saw. Any ideas?
The costume at my home during Christmas celebration is to give each other gifts, to have dinner together, and to take pictures, family pictures.
Of course, very good. I think that's the custom in pretty much all the homes, no? But well, in most of our homes. So it is the custom to take pictures of the family. How do you say that? Give presents to each other, you know, and to have dinner together. Good, very good. Anything else, guys? Anything more specific? For example, uh, listening to Pastor Lopez. It's is sorry, very typical in my house. It's very typical and also sometimes necessary, right? When my mom is up, listening to Pastor Lopez is very typical at home or for my family, right? Something more specific. Well, yes, of course, Maho describe in general the traditions, but something more specific, maybe about your family, something more particular.
Playing games, teacher.
Playing what kind of games? Like Pictionary or board games or what?
What, teacher?
Playing what kind of games? Like Pictionary or Uno or Parchís? Or...
No, we have a game. Is like telling stories, and you have a question, and you have to tell a story about that question. It's maybe like a what is you remember or yeah, what do you remember about your grandmother? And you have to tell a story with your grandmother.
Okay, wonderful game. So in that case, you could say, for example, well, teacher, telling stories or playing a game about stories, about storytelling or about anecdotes is very typical in my family, you know, or is something that we do every Christmas Eve, for example, right? So, muy bien, excellent. Thank you, Sarita. Anybody else? Anything particular?
Teacher, in my case, preparing food before 12 is a tradition. It's typical.
Okay, very good. Like, with whom? I mean, do you help, or it's like preparing food, but your mom and grandma, or do you help?
How do you say entre todos?
Among all, among all. Okay, very good. That's great. That's a good idea. So the women don't have to cook alone, no? So that's a very good idea. Very good. Pedro, my friend, anything else about your celebrations?
Meeting with the family, it's very common to us in these dates.
Good, excellent. Yeah, that's it. Bueno, so in that case, this structure can be used for whatever that you want. If you're talking about the sleeping, you could say, okay, sleeping after midnight is very common for me. If you want to talk about Christmas celebration, same. If you want to talk about communication, as well. So these kind of structures or these kind of connections can be implemented in all different cases. Ready? Now, guys, the checkpoint of the week number 4. I mean, I know that you haven't gone so far because only like 3 people have done the checkpoint of the week number 2. But anyway, in the week number 4, you're going to find another checkpoint, of course, which is about sleeping deprivation problems. You know, the sleeping deprivation, it means when you cannot sleep well. It's only one part and it's written. Ready? It doesn't have oral part. It's going to be only written. In that case, they are asking like, okay, which are the effects or the negative effects or possibly the negative causes of sleeping deprivation? What you have to do, what you have to do, it's super simple. It's only describing that, but please do it with your own words. Don't copy and paste the information from internet, but do it yourself. No, it doesn't have to be so long. You can do it super short, but do it yourself. What do you have to include? Of course, the connection of ideas, the connection with who, with therefore, no, however, nevertheless, right? And also the connection with time clauses, as soon as, da, 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 and the connection with even if, as long as, da, da, da. And recommended, like this is my personal recommendation, try to include sentences in both ways, using gerunds and using infinitive. For example, not sleeping well causes a lot of problems in your mind because blah, 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 blah. In the next paragraph, I start, it is negative to watch TV before sleeping because it causes the brain to work, no sé qué, So, vary between the gerunds and between the infinitive. So you can have a more, yes, tell me, question.
What is deprivation?
Deprivation es como, I don't know how do you say that, like deprivamiento. No sé cómo se dice en español, pero es como que algo que te falta, como la prohibición de, como que no te, como privar de algo, ¿right? Entonces cuando digo sleeping deprivation, es como no dormir bien, como que te privas del sueño, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ready? So that's the thing. Entonces, that's the recommendation for the checkpoint of the week number 4. Okay. Well, the next week, of course, we're going to have another topic, which is also included into the checkpoint, but the next week we're going to make the recommendations. For today, it's basically those ways to connect ideas, right? So well, I already mentioned all of them, time connections, conditions, in this case now gerunds or infinitives, so on, so on. So the idea is that you can learn how to connect your ideas in different ways depending your intentions. Okay, ready? Questions, guys, difficulties, problems, anything? Everything clear? All fine? All good?
Yes, teacher, all good.
Listo, my dear people. So for tonight, that would be all. That would be all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the attention, for the patience. And that's it. If you have problems or questions with activities, with checkpoints, with whatever, text me and I will answer as soon as possible. Okay? Ready? Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Go to rest, go to sleep, and take advantage to advance on the activities. Okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Teacher.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.